All right. Good morning. Welcome in, everybody. Where is everybody? There they are. Welcome in. Jetson. Welcome in, Jetson. Walt. B. Walt. Welcome in, man. How's everybody doing? Casey. Flippa. Juan. Paris. Welcome in, Paris. Express. Morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. It's a good morning, right? It's a good morning. It was a good day yesterday. Finally, some good price action, right? Chuck. Welcome in, Chuck. Welcome in, Carlos, Stacy, Mark, Mitson. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? How did everybody do yesterday? Hopefully, everyone had a nice. I hope they don't do what they did on, like, remember on last week they gave us like a phenomenal Tuesday, and then just every day after that was like, what the hell is going on? Hopefully they don't do the same thing again, because yesterday's price action was phenomenal, right? Really good price action across the board. Everything was moving so well. You just had to buy something. That's all you had to do yesterday. Just buy something, right? Just trust the levels and buy something. That was it. Welcome in, guys, though. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hopefully everybody was prepped for yesterday, because that's the most important part. Like, if you missed if you miss trades on a day like yesterday, it's mostly due to probably just not being fully prepped, right? I mean, sometimes you make mistakes. It's going to happen too, right? But 90% of the time, it's because of lack of market prep. And that's okay. Like, trust me, there have been times where even myself, I have lack of market prep. But yesterday we had the exact market prep, right, that we needed. And I think that was what allowed us to do so well yesterday. It allowed me to kind of get some good trades yesterday. Main trade was just SPY. I decided to focus in on SPY because contracts on other names weren't really moving so well previous days. And the move happened, right? The breakout move that we were looking for happened on SPY. Now there's going to be a load of chasers that come into market today, and we want to see what happens here, right? We're going to talk about what the levels are in front of us, the big supply, the golden zone, right? We moved from golden zone 1 to golden zone 2, so we're going to talk about what this means going forward. We're going to talk about the supply above us. We'll talk about the demand below us, and what the market needs to hold for continuation. I think that's the most important part. Fancy, absolutely, yep. We are going to talk about the QQQ chart, right? And sometimes, like, this is so important, is to be honest with you, right? Trading is, for me, and the more I trade, the more I realize this. There are some trades, and people will disagree with me, but I really believe this, because this is what I've been doing for so long now. You just need one really good trade every month. And it sounds crazy to say that, but if you have one really good trade, high conviction trade, everything else in the middle, little 10%ers, 15%ers, 20%ers here and there, right? They add up, and it's cash flow, and it keeps you green, and they're good, right? But you want trades like yesterday. You want days like yesterday. You traded for days like yesterday, right? Remember last week, Tuesday, that we got that crazy trade on Tesla? That was a really good trade. And every day after that was like, what's going on? Little losses, little gains, little losses, little gains. And these trades here, right? I know for most people, even for myself 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would never have captured the whole move yesterday, like I did yesterday, right? I'm sure many of you guys probably did. Even myself, I didn't capture the whole move, right? I captured a little bit of it, but you have to study those days and see what could I have done better to capture that entire move. Not the entire move, but at least 90% of it or 80% of it, right? Because those are the trades that allow you to kind of take your foot off the gas pedal and get those 10%ers, the 5%ers, the 20%ers, right, for a little bit of time, and then all of a sudden, bam, 100%, 200% trade. And these are the trades that, like, will make your month. The trades like this will make your P&L for the entire month. That's the real reality of trading. So anyway, we'll dive into it. We'll talk about. I don't want to just talk all about like hypotheticals and that stuff like that. I want to talk about levels, because you guys are here for that, right? So let's dive into our charts, or actually econ data first, then charts. In terms of econ data, yesterday's session obviously was pretty jam-packed. We had JOLTS data, job openings data that was big. That was the sort of centerpiece of yesterday's session. Now, going into our session ahead of us this morning, we have more data, right? We had PMI 945. That's going to be big. The market's going to move to that, move from that, rather. We have ISM services index at 10 o'clock as well. We have the petroleum status report at 10:30. That's going to impact your oil names. If you're long oil or trading oil futures, be careful of this. This is your day today to be careful when trading oil futures. So obviously be careful of that going into our day-to-day today. Okay. Besides that, 2 p.m. data as well. So pretty much just almost every hour we have data that just impacts us. Keep that in mind as you're progressing through today's trading session. And again, something that I did yesterday that I've done this a few times in a row now is I've just waited till after 10 o'clock, right? I've just waited till I don't really need to be in a trade at 9:27, 9:33, right? I want to, you can, right? You can, but sometimes getting the extra 30 minutes of data at market open can really play all the difference in your trading. So if you want to wait till after 10 o'clock data today, after ISM, today's your day to do that, right? Wait for ISM data to come out. Once the ISM data has come out, then go take the trade. I think that's an important thing to do today. And granted, maybe if you see something spectacular before 10 o'clock, sure, take the trade, right? But understand that you may not have the full direction right before 10 o'clock, okay? Thursday, June 5th, obviously more data. We'll talk about that as we progress through Thursday's session. In terms of earnings reports for the week, obviously we've gone over this day in, day out. But the only thing I want to talk to you guys about today's session on this Wednesday is the fact that tomorrow we have Avgo. So tomorrow, Avgo, DocuSign, Lulu, nothing incredibly important today on the earnings docket going into our session today, okay? Let's talk about charts. So before we talk about charts, I'm going to look at so we have 191 likes. Guys, let's get that like count up. Let's get that like count up. That's very, very bad, right? So on this pie chart, kind of in recap of what we talked about yesterday. What we spoke about yesterday was everything was based upon two levels. Remember we said level 1, the orange line was 593, and level 2 was 590, right? And so we came in with a pretty bold bias on Tuesday's session, and we said, you know what? Let's look for longs above 593 for an upside trade, right? Don't be long into 593, but let's look for longs above 593, because if you get the 593 breakout, where are we going to? If we break 593, we're going into 597. And the reason why we said 597 was because we had these highs over here. But remember we said that these highs over here, these highs were produced during the pre-market and post-market session, right? So pre-market, post-market, this data over here was not during regular trading hours. So we knew that if we did break above 593, we would see a very squeezy grind higher back into 597. It sounds a little bit kind of like an oxymoron to say squeeze and then grind, but that kind of was what I was expecting. I was expecting like a big squeeze and then followed by a grind. And that's generally what happened yesterday, right? Basically, we just grinded higher. The reason why was because there was no price action between 593 and 597. So logically, if we break 593, we move to 597. So that's what happened yesterday's session. Now, a level we didn't really discuss going into our session yesterday was we didn't talk about this level here at 595. And it was a level that I added to my chart this morning. And the reason, really yesterday, but now I'm telling you about it this morning. The reason why I'm adding 595 to my level, to my chart this morning is because even though we did move higher above 593, moved to 597, we did produce a low here and to close here at 595. And this low over here, in my opinion, is really important. So obviously we still have that same after hours high here, that supply zone above us at 597.50, which is still a big supply. But below us, we have demand here at 595, and we also have demand here at 593. So the levels I'd watch out for today's session is I'd watch to see, can we hold 595 first? That's your first demand today. If you can hold that, that's probably your most logical long spot today. Longs off 595 for a long spot entry, right? Again, maybe it's a bit aggressive going into our session ahead of us, but that's what I'd watch out for on this Wednesday morning, okay? If we lose 595, I think we have a potential downside day today. But downside day today only as far as the extent to 593, right? And that's, again, where our demand is from yesterday's session, the breakout yesterday's session, and that's logically where, again, another long entry would be. So we have a long entry here at 592, 593, really 593. You have a long entry here at 595 as your two big areas. So again, area 1 is a zone between 593 to 592, and area 2 is going to be your level at 595, which again was our level from yesterday's session that we had from the breakdown, from a little break and retest into close. Now this 595 is not simply just a level from yesterday, because it is a level from yesterday, obviously, right? That's what makes it so important. But what also makes this level so important is because it is what? if you go to the 15-minute time frame and zoom into what happened previously, you're going to see that there is a level here. You can see 595, 595 to 595.50, right? The whole zone over there. You zoom back out even further, and you see back. You have to go really far back. But if you go really far back, you see there are a lot of interactions here at this 595. So 595, I think, is an important level to watch on the charts today. And if we're trading today's session, if you want to trade puts today, the only real put entry I see is if this happens, if you see a break and retest under 595, that's your only short entry today. Or you see some sort of failure of highs here, that's a short entry. Those are your two short plays. And your long plays are going to be either a 595 hold or a 593 hold, which again would be two beautiful long spots. And the question mark becomes, what if we break and hold above these highs over here, 597.50? Because a lot of people are going to say, Brett, can we look for longs above the previous weekly highs? Because that would be a logical long spot. Well, let's zoom into that for a second, because again, we're talking about a lot of different things here. If you zoom into this chart right now, and if we actually get a break and hold above 597.50, I think we do move higher back into 600, which is our next big level. You can see 600 supply, 600, 600. So what we'll do is we'll mark that as a key level of supply. So if we do break and hold above 597.50, 597.50, I would expect us to move back into 600 SPY. But it becomes a little crazy, because the reason why I think it's a little crazy is if you trade levels and trade trend, you know that every extension move higher is followed by a pullback. Extension move higher, pullback. So today's session, even though logically, if we do break and hold above 597.50, we should move into 600, I would still expect a pullback today, right? I would welcome a pullback with open arms today back into demand. And the demands I'd watch out for would be 595 and 593. I think the best possible long entries today's session, and you can quote me in this, maybe it looks stupid tomorrow, but the levels that I would say what we should be looking for today is look for pullback longs, right? Look to see, can we set up pullback longs? Don't be long back in the supply, right? Let's look for longs back in demand. If they do set up and we do see confirmation offer demand, go long off demand zones here, and that's it going into our session ahead of us, okay? So let's go over ES's chart. Guys, it is 8:44. You've let me spend way too much time on SPY's chart. That's on you. That's on you. I'm just gonna rather than blame myself, I'm just gonna pass the blame on you guys. I see nobody in the chat. I see nobody in the chat saying, Brett, we're on SPY for too long. Okay, so if you want any sort of extra degree of confirmation that we must wait for a pullback today, it is 6,000 ES, right? I mean, look, guys, look how important this is. So important. You see 597.50 on SPY is important. You see, well, it's a weekly highs, right? Yes, we got the break and hold above 593, nice movement in weekly highs, nice level, right? Well, on ES's chart, it is not just a nice level, it is a beautiful level, right? It is a beautiful level here. The reason why is because it is a 6,000 psychological level, which is just a whole number, right? Psych level. 6,000 level here in ES. So be careful of that, right? If you want to go long today, it's not really going to be, you don't really want to be long right here. This is not where you want to be long today on the SPY chart, on the ES chart. You want to be long, either that happens, right? If this happens, you break and hold above 6,000 ES. If that happens, that's your long entry. Or you want to look for a pullback today, right? You have a big upside move, followed by a pullback. Upside move, followed by what? A pullback, right? Let's look for pullbacks today, and the most logical pullback, again, on the ES chart would really be 5950, right? And that would correlate to 593 in SPY. So welcome pullbacks today. Be understanding that pullbacks are healthy. Pullbacks are nice, and that's what we want to see. You don't really want to be long in the 6,000 ES. The only reason why we can be long with 6,000 ES in mind is if we see us breaking and holding above 6,000 ES, in which case that's your long entry. Long entry number one. Long entry number two here at 593, which is again 59.50 ES's chart. Remember I said 595 though in SPY. Why am I not talking about any levels in ES's chart? Well, because we didn't get to that yet, right? The level on ES's chart to watch out for, again, and this is a bit of an aggressive level. Your 10 out of 10 level is 6,000 ES and 5950 ES. Those are your big 10 out of 10 levels. That 595 level on SPY is like a 7 or 8 out of 10. What does that mean? It just means it's a level, it's important, but I don't know if it's going to hold as well. I think it is a nice level to watch out for longs though. And the level on ES's chart would be 5970. So if you're watching for SPY today longs or ES longs today, you probably can watch to see if we can maintain 5970 as a long spot, That's what I would say is a long spot one, long spot here, and long spot there. And obviously, this is a big long spot, right? This would be your golden zone today, right? Can we hold 593? That's your golden zone. But of course, also watch 5970. If we lose 5970 today, or 595 in SPY, you could scalp it short for a downside move. That is a potential opportunity today. A little bit of you're kind of scalping in an uptrend, but scalping puts in an uptrend, but it is still valid if you want to look for short entries under our 5970 level. And again, this is still demand though. Okay, so that's our SPY, that's our ES. I hope you guys understand kind of a recap of yesterday, and also you know what to do today's session. You know the levels of today's session. Okay, so the levels on the QQQ chart are pretty simple as well. I would say you can very clearly see 526 being an important demand today. So the equivalent of SPY 595, right? 595 and ES 5970 is the same thing as QQQ 526. So you have a lot of these things lining up together, right? And you know that today's session, your first long spot on the Qs is going to be 526. If you hold 526, long entry there. If we lose 526, then we should move back down to a breakout level from previous day's session, which is 522.50. Remember we said 522.50 is your long spot yesterday. It's your long spot. We broke it, held above it. That was where you should have long yesterday if you were longing the Qs. And that was it, right? So today's session, your long spot is here at 526, or your long spot is going to be here at 522.50. So two different long ideas today, right? But they're both valid. We just want to see what the market holds. Yesterday, the market held 526. So let's see today's session off the gate. Can we hold 526? Because if we are holding 526, then we can look for longs there, right? That's the most simple way of putting it, okay? So watching those levels as pullback long entries today. If we clear above 528.50, our previous day high, our previous our pre-market high, then where do we go to? If we clear above these highs over here, you can argue that we move higher back into 530. So remember I said that after hours highs, the pre-market, the post-market and pre-market highs on SPY chart, which was around 59750. Well, that's what this level is here in QQQ, right? It's 530 in Qs. So if we do see us hold above 528.50 today, I think we see 530. I don't think this is scalpable, to be honest with you. Maybe if you are like a crazy 0-to-D scalper or you want to just nail this move higher, you could do that. But there's not enough meat in that bone to trade for me, right? So there's not enough juice here, right? This is not juice. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of that breakout trade today. I think on SPY, obviously you don't really want to be long SPY until it clears that level, an ES level. So in QQQ, even though I'm saying we clear 528.50, we see a big push to 530. It's not that big, right? Because it's not enough. There's not enough juice there. So if I were a trader in Qs, I would be waiting for it to clear 530. That's what I'd be looking for. If it can clear 530, that's where the juice comes in, and we can look for the move higher back into 534. Okay, so level, that's the first trade, and the second trade would be 526. And then 522.50. Those are your three different levels today for long entries on Qs. And if we do fail below 526 today, then I would expect us to move back down to these levels over here. Okay, that's what I would expect today going into our session ahead of us on the QQ chart. NQ, I know you guys are going to go crazy if I don't go over NQ. NQ, what was the level that we spoke about pre-market yesterday, right? Again and again and again. I've been saying it for days. Look, I'm not a tech trader. I don't really trade NQ, but I mean, could you have gotten more perfect than this, right? You see a big opening bell failure of 21,555. We then break and hold above it, break above 21,555. We then pull back to it with a wick forming exactly at that level, right? We can rip higher off that level all day. So your long entry yesterday's session on the NQ chart was right there, staring at you in the face. Where's Waldo, right? Where's Waldo? Waldo right now is wearing a neon suit, right? Neon colored flashing suit. This is Waldo, right? It's the beautiful candle over here. It's not always going to be Where's Waldo and it's easy to find. Where's Waldo is very easy to find yesterday's session, right? That's your long entry at 9:05, which is about 10:05 on the Eastern Standard Time, right? On the SPY chart or on the QQQ chart, right? So that was your beautiful long entry yesterday if you were trading NQ. Now going into our session in front of us, what we have to be worried about today is, again, it's going to be 21,555. We have our level there as our technical demand. We also have a level here at 21,640, right? The same thing as QQQ 526 is 21,640. So today's session, you want to see us hold this level. If we hold this level, longs back higher. If you fell below this level, then back into 21,555. And again, this is your secondary long spot going into our session ahead of us. So again, That's it, guys. That's all we have for our ETFs. I want to now move on to our individual tickers. And we're going to start off with the first ticker of the day. Tesla. So, Tesla. Interesting, right? Because Tesla, even though the market, and this is so important, is even though the market was strong yesterday, right? And I want you guys to see these things now because it's important. The reason why I'm here is because I'm here to show you guys things that you probably all see too. And I'm not going to say anything outlandish. We're just going to kind of discover this together, right? Look at what's happening here on Tesla. Indisputable, Tesla's weak, right? You can't dispute that. Why can't you dispute that? Because look at what the market is today, this morning, right? The market, I mean, look at where we opened at on Tesla, 344, okay, at 9:30 or really 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We opened at 344, and we're trading at 344 this morning, okay, right? Now take a step back, go to SPY. Where did we open at in SPY yesterday? 592, and where are we opening at right now? 596. Okay, look at Nvidia. Pull back to the video. Oh, okay, 138, 142. Oh wow, big upside, right? AMD, big upside. Let's go over Apple, right? Apple, huh? Apple, a little bit of a lagger, right? So you have some laggers today, and the laggers are Apple, the laggers are Tesla, and the laggers are Amazon, right? Some names are lagging today. And it's important to understand which ones are lagging and which ones are strong. And Tesla is right now lagging. I would have this understanding today that we are bearish on Tesla under 350. That's the most important thing to understand. Yesterday's session, if you came in with that mindset, you would have shorted 350, downside move. Short 350, downside move. Broke and held above 350, didn't touch it, right? Walked away. Watch this fail 350, break, retest short entry, got another short entry at 350. So if you had that mindset yesterday off of 350 being bearish or bullish, you had a good day, right? Not spectacular, but you had a good day. Today's session, I think it's the same thing. If we're under 350, we're bearish. If we're above 350, we're bullish. So what I'd be looking for today's session is I'd be looking to see, can we fail 350 today? Because if we see us fail 350 for shorts, that's your short watch today's session. And I think the names that were relatively weak yesterday are going to continue to be weak today if the market does pull back. If you see the market pull back to 590, if you see SPY pull back to 593 today, right? What do you think Tesla's going to be doing? Do you think Tesla's going to be strong? No, it's probably not going to be, right? Because it was so weak yesterday that I would argue probably today it's weak, as long as market's weak, right? So watch and see if Tesla maintains under 350. If it does this above 350, that's a long entry, and you can look for long side trades on Tesla. So again, 350 is your line in the sand. Above it, it's bullish. Below, it's bearish. That's all we have today in Tesla, okay? And if you clear 350, back in 385. If you clear 385, we go back into 367, and that would be this would be your colossal breakout today. If you clear 355, that's an incredible breakout today's session. So again, even though I'm saying Tesla's relatively weak, what flips that would be a break and hold above 350. And what really confirms it would be a break and hold above 355, because above 355, a beautiful breakout trade back at 367. So this is your long side trade. This is your short side trade. Very simply, that's what I'm watching today here in Tesla's chart. Okay. So with that in mind, let's flip to a strong stock, Nvidia. Right, Nvidia yesterday again. This chart is really nice. I mean, what happened yesterday was beautiful, and the reason why I didn't trade this was not because I didn't see a level here. Was not because that was not because I think Nvidia sucks. Was not because I wasn't watching Nvidia. It was because the contracts weren't really moving that well on Monday session. I caught Monday a long entry here and sold it there and made a few bucks, right? Again, remember I said the idea of making those little 10%ers, 20%ers, right? That was Monday, okay? And then on Tuesday session, I was like, you know what? I've traded Nvidia 3 days in a row. Every single time I traded it, it's been like 10% gains. I want something different. And the one day I say I want something different, look at what Nvidia did yesterday, right? Just take a second and look at what happened on Nvidia. This was one of your best long entries yesterday, was the hold above 138, right? So 138, previous day high, right? You can see it staring at you right in the face, right? 138, right? Just look at this chart. You can see 138, right? 138 previous day high, turning into support in the early morning session on Nvidia. That early morning turn from resistance to support is what caused it to squeeze higher and rip higher with very, very high volume. And I'm sure the contracts absolutely ripped here in Nvidia. Now, going forward, Nvidia is still bullish, right? Everything is still bullish in Nvidia, right? This chart's still very much so bullish. But what would I be looking out for today in Nvidia? what I'd be looking out for today here in Nvidia is I look to see, can we maintain 140 today? You have a 140 pullback long. It's your first pullback long. And you have 138 pullback long. Those are your two pullback longs today, 138 and 140. That's all we have today in Nvidia. Pullback long 1, pullback long 2. If you break and hold above 143, right, 143, look for longs above 143 for an upside trade as well. So a break and retest trade would be valid here, right? Why would I like a break and retest trade here on Nvidia? Because we already pulled back to demand. And I think this chart can continue going if we clear above these highs. So watching 143 breakout, I'm watching a 140 bounce, I'm watching a 138 bounce. I'm watching so many different things in Nvidia. Why? Because I love trading Nvidia. So that's my mindset here. If you do see us break and hold above 143, look at this chart. You see 143 breaks, 143 breaks, 143 breaks. We should see 148, 149. That would be a very nice breakout trade today on Nvidia's chart, right? I'm going to start going faster now because I want to go through as many tickers as I can. So let's go over AMD. Just bear with me, guys. I am going to go fast. So AMD 116 was your level yesterday. Remember we said at 116 break and retest. Again, levels were just beautiful yesterday. This is how the market should be, right? This is how the market should really be. Yesterday's session, a beautiful break and retest trade here at 116 for an upside trade. I even gave you secondary entry to close. If you didn't capture any piece of the pie yesterday, they gave you some microwave pie, a microwaved pizza at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? You missed the pizza party, but you were able to get a little bit of that microwavable pizza at and tomorrow. My analogies are horrible, but again, the level was there, right? Beautiful upside momentum trade here in the morning, and then it gave you a little bit of an opportunity end of day. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? My analogies may not be representing that, but again, 116 was a level yesterday. Today's session, what's the level today? It's again. No big surprise here. It's 116 again, right? 116 is your pullback today. If you can pull back to 116, look for longs at 116. 118.50 is your next level. If you can clear 118.50, 118.50, 118.50, that's the next big level. Like if we can clear that, then upside trade back to the 122.50. So again, this or this. If we lose 116, short the stock and look for a downside move to 111, right? That's what I'd be looking for today. If you lose 116, short the stock, downside play. If you hold 116, that's your long entry today's session. Joshua, yes, absolutely. I will go over Meta. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you. That is very kind of you. And Tay Too Smooth, yes. Also, thank you very much. Tesla is a bull flag in the one day. We'll take a look at Tesla one day. But yeah, you see that. There we go. Brett, you're spending too much time at pizza. This is what I need. I need people to need someone to tell me move on. Move on. Tesla. Why am I back to Tesla? SMH. SMH. On the SMH, 238 maintained. That was it, right? That was the summary yesterday's session. 238 maintained. We are now back in the supply zone here on semis. Let's see what happens here. We have to clear above 252. If we can clear 252, that's where more upside comes in, right? So 252 level, I have a lot of different levels here on this SMH chart. It's a little bit wonky, but I would say the big supply zone we have to clear out now is at 252 level. If we can clear 252, upside trade. We are bull flagging here, and we are breaking out the bull flag, which I like. This is like your beautiful breakout trade here on semis. So if we can clear above 252, that's where more upside comes in here in semis. Something I want to show you guys today. MU. Little micron action today. I saw this in the pre-market session, and I was looking at it. I was like, wow, this is actually a good chart this morning. If you guys are MU traders, watch this 99 to 100 level today, right? This could be a spectacular break and retest long entry, right? Watch this level today. If you see us pull back to this zone between 99 to 100, and you see us set up a long entry there, it's your long, right? It's your beautiful break and retest long. Highs, right? Beautiful potential break and retest today session. Watch and see if we can maintain 100 to 99 for a long entry today, okay? That's your chart that I'd watch out for, okay? Right. Avgo, yes, Avgo, it does have earnings. So in my opinion, everything I say on Avgo can be completely wrong pretty soon. It maintained that retest level at 237. Fancy, thank you, Fancy. It maintained that level at 237.38. Today's session on Avgo, we are in price discovery mode, right? That's where we're at, right? We're in price discovery mode. What does that mean? It just means we're at new all-time highs. So I don't think we've ever been this high before, right? And that's where we're at. Previous all-time highs at 256. That's your level, right? You also have a level here at 248 as your next big level. But going into our session, wow, 248 is a level. I mean, that to me, like this to me is where I want to be long, right? That's where I want to be long at 248. But if you want to be aggressively long, watch 256, your previous all-time high, turn into support. If that happens, long entry there or long entry there. Those are your two long entries today session on Avgo's chart. Okay, so CRWV, Core Weave. Core Weave is a key component of Nvidia just purchased a lot of this chart, and obviously that's what's causing this chart to move higher. The question is, do you want to chase it now? And your answer should be no, right? Get those thoughts out of your mind. Core Weave obviously is a strong stock. Obviously is moving higher mostly because of Nvidia, right? Nvidia is just picking up a big piece of this chart. But I would say if you want to trade Core Weave, wait for a capitulate. Wait for a little bit of a sell, right? Wait for a sell, and the sell that you'd be waiting for is you're probably waiting for 130. That would be the most logical point to be building longs in this chart, right? Wait for 130. Don't buy it over here at 160, right? Now, granted, maybe it does this, and sure, whatever, that's fine, right? I don't care. I would rather it come back to 130 and set up a risk reward long entry, because if that happens, that's where we can logically long this chart and we can look for trades at 130. That's it. That's all I have to say here on Core Weave. If you disagree with me, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. 130 is my level though. Okay. And by the way, I was expecting this chart to be brought into the docket today. Core Novodisk NVO, beautiful weekly retest here on NVO. I am going to be buying NVO more. I actually bought NVO already, right? I was long NVO for a while. I longed it in the chat with you guys. If you guys were in the chat around the 60s, we were longing it in the 60s. So I'm already in shares in this, but I'm not in that much. And I want to be building more shares in this chart. But I don't want to be buying it here. I want to get some sort of weekly pullback on NVO back into 67, 66, because if I do that, then I can build more shares at a better price. So that's what I'm waiting for on NVO. Is I'm waiting for a dip. I'm not just not buying it because I'm gonna buy it more, right? But I want to wait for a proper level. So right now NVO looks like it may just rip, and that's fine because I'm already in shares. But if it does pull back more, I will buy more. That's NVO. Okay. Apple, Amazon, yes. Apple, Amazon. So interesting. Today's session is going to be interesting because you didn't have the big guys participate yesterday. It was mostly just Nvidia that participated, right? Nvidia chips, right? But you look at Tesla, you look at Apple, you look at Amazon. Those charts didn't really participate in the price action. Because look at where we're at. Look at where we are at now on Apple. Apple is at where we were yesterday, right? So what do we do here in Apple? I don't know, right? I really don't know. I want to see what happens with the market today. Is the market going to pull back and give up a lot of its upside moves because these betas are not doing much? Or are we going to get Apple and Amazon and Tesla? Are they going to start to participate in this upside? I think that's the biggest question today, right? If you were to sometimes it takes me a little bit to kind of figure out because every trading session is a puzzle, right? The puzzle of today's session, and this is the puzzle that you guys have to kind of ask yourself too as you're progressing the trading session today, is do you see Apple, Amazon, Tesla begin to flip strong? If those three names flip strong, upside on SPY. No doubt, right? Probably back in 600 plus. If these three names begin to fail today, downside on SPY, right? Probably back into 593. That's it, right? But those three names are going to be what moves SPY today. Why? Because they were the laggers of yesterday's session. What are they going to do today? You can also bring in Nvidia obviously into the mix as well. But Nvidia was strong yesterday, so Nvidia probably will also be strong today. Let's see what happens here at Apple's chart. Apple, what defines Apple today is either above 203. If Apple gets above 203, that's where we can have upside on the market, right? Above 203 for longs, back into 207. Or if Apple loses 200, I would not really be inclined to go long today's session and look for downside in the market, right? I would expect this to happen or this to happen if we break either end of that spectrum, okay? That's Apple. Amazon. On the Amazon chart, I mean, look at Amazon, right? Amazon is actually red from yesterday's session. Amazon has not moved from yesterday's session. Yesterday's session, we spoke about 20650 being our long spot. If you had that idea yesterday of 20650 being your long spot, you probably came out yesterday being green. Long, 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 right? This was your long spot yesterday. If you guys were on live trading, remember too, I also talked about Amazon being long at 20650. I didn't trade this chart though. And there was a reason why. I can't remember, but I didn't trade this chart. Going into our today's session, right? The same level as 20650. But now, yesterday we were above this level. Now today we're below this level. To me now, I don't really like Amazon as long as we're under 20650, right? I think you should stay away from it because this looks more weak to me than this looks weaker to me than strong. That's it. This is a bear side chart, right? Sometimes you have bull side charts, you have bear side charts. This is a bear side chart under 20650, right? What would flip that is if we get above 20650. That would be a flipping move. Okay. Right. Meta. Before I forget, Meta. Meta's chart 660, right? This is your pullback long here. I know it may take some time to happen, but the level to watch out for is you're looking for this. This would be your most beautiful trade, right? Can you get a pullback long to 660? That's what you're watching today's session. If it can pull into 660, I think that's where we can look for longs today. Logically, that's the reason why I'm saying this, right? I don't want to just say stuff, right? The reason I'm saying this is because look, right? Where you have the most reasonable long entry is back at these previous highs and these previous highs, right? Look for a beautiful break, little bull flag, retest long entry here. Right now, this is just a bull flag. This is just a bull flag, right? So let's look to see can Meta pull back to that 660 level because I think eventually it will, but I just don't know when. Guys, thank you all for joining in. I appreciate everybody. I know there's gonna be some people who are mad that I didn't go over everything they wanted. I can't go over everything. I'll be here till 4 p.m. if I did that. Thank you all for joining in. I will see you guys all for live trading if you trade with us. If not, I'll see you guys here tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.